Hello, my name is Rockwell, and today I'm going to be demonstrating my Unit 8 survey application. So, just for context, this is what my bash scripts folder looks like. I don't have any files made yet for the survey. So let's go ahead and nano into this, and we see all the code here. So, first and foremost, we have these files here, and basically I'm making the file names here for the files for the credentials and question bank so that they're named this when they get generated. And let's scroll to the bottom here. Okay, so essentially, this if checks if there is already if there is no credentials file, then it'll make it and it will use the name that I provided in the beginning. And same thing for here, it checks if there's a question bank file, and if not, it's going to take the name from the one I provided up top. And this time, if there is no question bank file, it's going to populate it with this. So we have the EOT, which basically lets me put multiple lines of text into a file, and that makes the question bank. So from here, we run the main, which is going to be right here. So it clears whatever's on the screen, and it's a loop, and this is basically the main menu. It runs the display menu function, which is basically echoes the options for the menu of what you can do, which are register, login, exit. So let's head back to the main. Oh shoot, sorry. Yeah, so that displays the menu, and then I have a variable here to store what the user selects. So I have the choice is stored in whatever the user inputs in menu, and then based on the choice is where we go for each option here. So let's say the user inputs 1. It's going to say that register has been selected, and then it's going to run the register function here. If I can just find it. So yeah, here we have the register function. It's going to clear whatever's on the screen. It's going to say registration up top, and it's going to prompt the user to enter a username, and that's what that -p flag does. So that we store the username in this username variable, and it checks here using grep that if the username already exists, and then we mute the error file into dev null. It basically checks that if the username exists in the credentials file using this pattern, basically checks if it starts with that. It's going to say that the user already exists, so you can't duplicate users. Then, so if you're able to get past that, then it'll ask you to enter a password, which gets stored here. And then you can enter the password again. And this -s silences it so you can't see what's being typed. And so the two variables that we stored with the password double checks that they match, and if not, you're not allowed to do it, and it goes back over or restarts. But if everything is good, it'll take the username and password variables that we made or that the user made, and it's going to store it in the credentials file, and it'll say that the registration was successful. So after that happens, it's going to run the pause function that I've made here. And this basically makes it so that the user can take processes at their own pace. So it'll prompt the user here to enter to continue. So yeah. And then, we have the login, which was the other option for the main menu. Yeah, so it'll say login selected, and it'll run the login function. Let me go back here. I just passed it. So yeah, it'll clear the screen. It'll say that's the login menu, and it's the same thing as the register. It'll prompt you for a username, and then it'll prompt you for a password. It'll grep from the credentials file, and this matches the pattern. Basically, if the username and password, or it'll find where the username is, check if the password matches, and this just mutes any error messages. And if it matches, then it'll say that the login is successful, and it'll take you to the survey menu function with this username used to log in. And if not, it'll say invalid username and password, and it'll return to the login menu. So let's take a look at this survey menu here. So it'll take the parameter from the username, as you can see here, and while it's true, it's going to be a loop. It's going to, this is basically going to show all the survey options. So you can take a survey, view a survey, or log out, and it'll take a prompt from the user, and that's going to get stored in choice. And based on the choice, it'll either take the survey, view the survey, or log out if you pick 3. Anything else will say it's invalid. So let's move on to, let's say the user wants to take the survey. It'll take the username passed on from earlier. And let's see this. So yeah, we have the username passed, and it's going to basically make a file for each user based on their answers. So the answers file is going to become the user's, it's going to be an individual unique user file. And then, let me hide this real quick. And so what this does is IFS is basically, it's going to use this pipe character as a delimiter, which we are going to be getting from the question bank file. So we're using the question bank file as input, and we're going to separate by the delimiters. And if you remember from the beginning, the question bank is separated by these pipe characters. So it's going to read the file and separate it into these variables. So the question number, text, and each option. And so for each question, it'll show the number, the actual question, and it'll show each option. And then it'll prompt the user to answer with A, B, C, or D, and the answer will get stored in answer. And based on which letter they choose, it'll set the option to the full answer variable, which I'll explain later. And if you don't choose anything, it'll just say that the answer is invalid, and it'll skip it. And basically, for each question, it'll take the number, the text, and the full answer, and it'll forward it to this answers file. And that's going to get stored in the unique user file for each person. And once you answer every question, it'll say the survey is complete. And then let's say you're back in the login menu. This is to grab the unique user file. So let's say you've already completed one. It gets stored here. We're using this to grab that. So this checks if the answers file exists. And if it does, then it'll just show the survey results for blank. And then this cat just displays all the answers, or all the questions and answers and options that they picked. And if not, it'll say that there's no survey results found. And that's pretty much it. And then it'll run the pause function, which, as you know, gives the user enter to continue. So now that we've gone through the survey, let me see. Registration, login. Yeah, that's pretty much it. So the exit feature basically breaks. So if you want to leave the survey menu, you can log out here. And then once you're back to the main menu, if you want to exit the program, you type in 3, it'll clear the screen, say goodbye, and it'll exit with no problems. So that's pretty much it. So yeah, let's demonstrate it. So I'm going to run this Unit 8 survey app. Let's register. And I'm just going to do Rockwell for my name. And we'll do test as a password. I'll type in, just for demonstration, I'm going to type in the wrong password. So I'm not going to type in test. I'm going to type in random characters, and the passwords do not match. So let's try that again. We're going to do Rockwell. We're going to do test. We're going to do test again. So now the registration works. And now we can log in. So let's choose 2. And let's do Rockwell. And now if we put in the wrong password, let's try it. It'll say that we don't have the right password. Another thing here is if I try to register again, it'll say that I already exist, so you can't do that. So yeah, let's log back in. Oops. Right password, and now we can take our survey. And as I haven't taken one yet, if I try to view survey, it won't work. It'll take me back to this menu. So let's take the survey. So I just have some NJIT related questions here. I'm just going to answer these. And let's just put that. So now the survey is complete. So now if we want to view it, we just hit 2. And now we can see all the answers that I picked. Okay, so now let's log out. And we're back to the main menu. So that's pretty much it. If I want to exit, just type in 3. And it'll say goodbye. And we're out. So now let's take a look at the files that it generated. So if we look at the question bank here, we can see the question bank that is, but it's not separated by the delimiter quite yet. That's so the script handles that when it asks all the questions. And we generated that when we saw that it didn't exist. And then let's check out the answer file that was generated by me. And we see each question and the option that I picked with the letter and the actual answer. And let's check out the user credentials. CSV. And if you look at that, there's the login we made with Rockwell and Test, and that's also how it verifies login data to make sure that you have the correct login info, and that you also can't register with the same username more than once. See if I'm forgetting anything. Yeah, that's pretty much it. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you later.